yo, and I don't know, you, fourth and fifth are up in the air. But what's probably fourth and fifth are girls who've already qualified as well, or won shows that are going to Worlds. But if they didn't, and they were fourth or fifth, let's say at Worlds, why wouldn't you just give that spot to them? That's like giving the girl two pro cards at a pro qualifier. Makes no sense. You know what I mean? It makes no sense whatsoever. So by default, it's like, oh, what are you gonna do with two pro cards? It's like, oh, I won the Masters and I won the Open, or I won the 35 and I won the 45 class. Why wouldn't you just give it to the girl in second place? And then it's like nationals, what they do in nationals now. First and second place get pro cards. Wasn't during my time because I'd have been a fucking pro a long time ago. Because I remember Dave Palumbo asking me, he's like, what do you think about the new rule of them giving two pro cards? I go, when you're a three-time runner-up at USA's and nationals, excuse my language, how the fuck do you think I feel? Because I would have been a pro already. I said, but now that rule applies. So why wouldn't you do it the same as, open pro bodybuilding? You know what I'm saying? All these girls is qualified. You're trying to get more girls in the show. You won't get more girls in the show because so now you're looking at same number that you did last year, right, for women's bodybuilding. Especially if you got to run through Andrea, Ashley, and Yo, let's say Micaiah. You got to run through all those girls to get a qualification, which probably ain't going to happen. So, and all those girls already qualified for the Olympia. Why wouldn't you just give it to the girl, like say for instance, a fifth place girl or fourth place girl that didn't qualify? Why wouldn't you just give it to her, seeing that all those other girls in front of her are already qualified, right? Doesn't that make logical sense?
That makes
But
sense.
that's just me.
But I can say I understand that, but the fact is, they make the rules. They know that it'd be easier. Why? Like one example is we have Anastasia Livanova, who can't even get a visa to compete at a show. I think she said she's going to do a show in the UK. If you can't compete after winning your last show, what's the point of taking that time coming to
Because
another show?
who was a girl who won? She came in second. What was her name? The mom.
Sherry Priami, she's also be at the
Yeah.
Rising
So
yesterday.
Sherry placed second to her there in Portugal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so again, you're just it's just effing up, spots for girls because Sherry would have qualified already. So by default, I would say, why didn't you? By default, Sherry should have got that qualification because now you got a girl who can't get over here because again, I just filled out my pro card last night, right? And so it says, I have a passport, this, that, and other. And I'm sure they got to do over there. I think the problem is that the IFBB doesn't do their due diligence as far as like, oh, do you have a visa? I mean, because how many times? I mean, last year, and this is the way the Europeans work. It's the way the Canadians work. If you have a felony or something on your record, you can't get into this country. Like if you go to Canada, if you're a felon, you can't get into Canada. Like prime example, like the guy Charles Griffin that I just talked about, who won the Legions, who qualified for the Olympia last year. He went to Canada to Toronto like a few years ago and got to the border and they sent his ass back home because he had DUI. Not trying to put his business out there, but that's why he couldn't get into Canada. So I'm sure like Nathan D. Asher, who qualified for Olympia last year but couldn't get here because of his visa, because he was having issues at his gym, with his gym was stung, a steroid raid or whatever case it be, and I don't know the whole logistics of it. But part of that has to do with, the United States and the country he's in saying you can't come to this country. So there has to be something on that girl what's not allowing her to come over to this country. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Tara, I remember talking to my coach about Tara, Tara Seltzer when she was competing, she ran into some trouble here and then she had to go back to Canada. She had to get it expunged off her record in order to come back to the United States to compete. It's just crazy. So again, what I'm saying is you're giving girls spots that can't get here. So again, the numbers are going to be, let's say the numbers. What was it last year? 11 girls, 12 girls in
10.
Olympia, 10. So you're going to be at the same number this year.
Well, actually, going to be a little more because, like I said, Christina, unless Christina dropped out like she did last time, it's going to be at least 12 or 13, just about, because you already have, both. You have, see the top four, you have Andrea, you have Angela, you have Alcione, and you have Hella, who's already,
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
I kept
yeah,
forgetting about
Hella,
them. You're right. Yeah.
Hella, and
Yep.
then you have Lavinia Barros, you have Teresa Ivasic, you have Julia Wetzel, Ashley
Micaiah,
Jones,
Michaela.
Micaiah, Sherry, Nadia, and you have who else? Uh, that's it. You have at least already 12 women. Now it would have been 13 if what's the face didn't have a visa.
But here's the thing. Let's be realistic though. I mean, if you look at how many guys are in open bodybuilding, and how many guys are competing in the show, and some guys like Nathan last year couldn't get over here, whatever case it may be. It's like, should those numbers be higher? Yes, they should be higher. But again, the problem is the not enough shows. The point thing is out. So, and how many girls? I mean, let's think about it. How many girls actually compete? And then, like, so you looking at like Maya, maybe out. Boswell hasn't qualified. Maya hasn't qualified. Who else hasn't qualified?
Sheena,
That's something. Sheena,
Sheena,
Hunter,
Natalia,
Hunter. You know, there's a lot of Sheena. There's a lot of talent. I mean, you know, I think Tina whole goal is for next year, but again, it's one of those things where, I guess I could throw her in there too. There's so many girls who are trying to qualify that won't make it because of the limited amount of shows, and then everything's after the Olympia. So it's just crazy, and that's a lot of good talent. It's not like these girls are scrubs. It's a lot of good talent out there. All those girls we just mentioned are Olympia, have been to the Olympia and have qualified for Olympia before, but because of the shows that they don't have anymore and the point system, they're all going to be, and looking outside looking in, right? And that's just too bad. I mean, that's too bad. And they're
yeah,
and all those girls we mentioned are pretty girls too.
yeah,
Who the femininity of it all should have opportunity to compete in Olympia, but that's
yeah.
just our opinion, George.
Yes, this is a man, Stefan Prey. He says, I don't understand. Jake can't make the Anaheim for this year. I don't see what difference does it make. Well, he's not really. He's one of the sponsors, but he's not the promoter.
Yeah.
And yeah, if he could have like they could have had squeezed the Anaheim round this month because you don't have other than Tampa. There's no other shows for women's bodybuilding for this month. You could have put it. They could have had Anaheim for this month. Maybe this week. No, it would have been good to have it this week because you had the Rise of Phoenix. They could have had it the week before or the week after the Rise of Phoenix. Let me see what was the. Let me
Well, because
look
we're
into.
5 weeks out from the Anaheim show.
Yeah, because I think let me try to pull up a calendar here. I'm trying to look at the calendar and see if they did the Anaheim show, they could have done it. Either that same weekend you just had the Tupelo and the other shows, or they could have done it the 31st. That'd be before the Lena show, but that'd be the problem. That'd be well, it'd be a Saturday for the Lena show. The Lena show would be on Sunday.
But I mean, here's the
So
thing, and you're absolutely right, because here's the thing: it's in the states, it's in California, it's more obtainable to get there than going to Romania. I mean, and affordable. I mean, come on, you're talking about passports, and then I don't even know how much ticket it costs to go to Romania right now. Probably like at least 1,500. Room and board. Remember we talked to Lori last year about it. When the Masters. And that one. What did she say? Like 30 grand. And that was I think she was 10th or than that at that show. So it's just a lot of money. It's just and it's here's the thing I look at. It's like, do I spend 10 grand or like even let's say 5 grand to go to a show to get a qualification for the Olympia to only make $2,500? It's like I always say about like master shows like some of these promoters who want you to pay to compete. I says, why would I pay to play? You know what I'm saying? So you're paying to play. So I mean, if I'm a money guy and I'm a numbers guy. My whole saying, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So I'm gonna spend like at least 5 grand to go to Romania to hopefully qualify for the Olympia. Maybe the prize money is 2,500. Get a qualify. So now you made half your money back. To get to Olympia, to probably not place in the top five, depending on what girl it is. I mean, and, again, we know that women's bodybuilding, they don't pay very much money in the sport. So it's kind of like a lose lose. I mean, if it's your goal to get to the Olympia, but it's kind of like a lose lose situation to go over there to qualify for the Olympia, knowing that you're going to lose money no matter what throughout the process. Does that make sense?
Uh,
Right?
uh, no, don't.
I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
Unless
there you
you're,
go.
sorry. Unless you're Andrea Shaw or someone, generally, most of these women have to pay out of their pocket. That's why some of these girls do the OnlyFans. And as I like to call them, the beat to beat websites, we don't know what they are. you
I
know,
get it. No, I totally get it. I'm like, I looked at Tina and I said, look, I said, not to put our business out on the street, but she makes more money running our business than she does competing, So I'm like, it's, I said, like, again, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. I know a goal is a goal, but, why shell all this money to get a $2,500 check? I'm like, think about it like we were talking about last week. Sarah gave each girl who placed in the top 10 in women's physique $1,000. So they're winning because let's say the third place girl at a open bodybuilding show gets a $500 check. So kudos to Sarah and what she's doing, because at least you walk away with something, not with empty pockets, because that may have paid for their, airfare and hotel or whatever case may be. But at least you know, you're on the upside, not the downside. That's the problem with this sport, in essence, to me, especially for women's bodybuilding.
yeah, it's just it's like having like they say like if you ever own a boat is a money pit. They say you put more money into that thing.
A
The back.
pool at your house, like me, is a is a is a so don't think because you put a pool in your house that you're gonna get your money back. You're actually losing money. So you put the pool in for yourself, not to get money back off of it.
Yeah, and that's the expense that I think a lot of people can't, spare. I remember I interviewed with a couple. They, Keith Holmes and his wife Daphne. Daphne competes in physique. Keith competes in men's classic. He was hoping to get invited to the Olympia Masters, but they say like it's too much money to take out of their home because they're married. They have she has two daughters. He has a couple of kids. They have a blended family, and that be money they could spend on something more like on the kids or this or that, paying bills. Okay, here a
Well, I hope
man.
so. I hope they do the Master Olympia in the states next year. Because that's more. I think it's more appealing for people than to, like, do it in Orlando or do it in Vegas or whatever, or put it in Olympia, and make it a day, be day before everything else starts, like they do the amateur, So I mean, I hope they do something like that so you don't have to go overseas.
Well, then that means that the Master Olympics is still a qualification show. That means that if they do it the Olympia, that has to be qualification for next year Olympia. Or like I said, do Orlando, where they took the Olympia out of Orlando, put it back, in Vegas. Do it Orlando because you have more Masters competitors here than you have overseas. I
Yeah, and,
mean,
and Orlando was, I mean, I still, like, if I had to pick Vegas over Orlando, I'd pick Orlando every day. I mean, I've went to that venue twice, and it's 3 stories tall. The building's 3 stories. They have the expo. It was just a great, because it's all in one place, So the hotel is connected to the convention center, so they don't have to worry about buses or transporting athletes. But athletes are it's just conveniently located. But I mean,
and
we'll
then
get off.
also
We'll talk about some things off the air. Let's say
yeah,
that.
and also Orlando is more of a family kind of
Yeah,
environment because when we're Charlotte, she takes her kids. They have some place to
yeah,
go. If you have kids, you
yeah,
can go to Disneyland. You can go Universal. You can go Busch Gardens. You go somewhere where after the show you can have some fun, unwind.
yeah,
Vegas is the adult place. They try to be family friendly, but it didn't work out because
yeah,
it's not family friendly. It's mostly for adults who want. And the reason why they want to have it in October instead of November, because that last year November was the time they had in November was awful. The weather was bad. People got sick. I remember I interviewed Danielle Willis. She was still sick from that when she competed at Vegas
yeah.
that year, and it's just it's better. The vibe is better. Even when it's like December in Florida, it's not even that bad. It's like almost springtime. Down that end instead of like in Nevada, it can get just as cold if it's like any place else.
Yeah, because like the girl Janine who was seventh at Tampa won the 40 and 50, so it qualified for her for the Master Olympia for next year. But again, like I told Tina, I said you might as well jump into Masters and Open, because at least you qualify for one of them, So
Yeah, it makes more sense because I think that's what they're going to do. They're not going to do invitation anymore for. I don't know what they're going to do. We're still going to do invitation for Masters Olympia. I know I talked to one lady.
I
She's
think you have to qualify now. I think you have to
yeah,
qualify now.
yeah, because I know I talked to one lady. She's a figure competitor. She's from Australia. She won the Masters class in a show in Atlanta, no, in Georgia, whereas
Yeah,
it's close to Atlanta, whatever Georgia, whatever. And she's qualified for Masters Olympia. She's from Australia, so that means if they do it here, she has to come over here to compete
and
and
it
get
makes
Olympic
sense. I mean,
qualification.
that makes sense because they have plenty of master shows. And so that, like September 1st is the Master Worlds in Pittsburgh. I'll be out there with my client who's competing, and actually somebody's like, "Well, why don't you do that show?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. I got my goals and my dates set. I mean, it's not a show. I mean, I probably can. My coach said I probably can jump in and win it, but I'm like, we already got a set date, so it's you know how I feel about certain people.
Yeah, I know. I know that this different show was a Masters show. It was just totally Masters, no Open. That's the Max Fit. That was the same weekend as the Tupelo because Tupelo was Friday and that show was Saturday.
Yeah,
And also, this is one thing is if you as a master competitor have to pay and compete, why not do like you do like an amateur, have an overall and get your Olympic qualification?
yeah.
I mean, it make I know this. I know some ladies compete.
Especially especially like Master Worlds, which is if it's Master World Championships, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
there's Master World Championships, which is a big name. Why wouldn't it's like why wouldn't the Master World Championships be Olympia qualifier? You know what I'm saying? But I guess they want to make the Master Olympia the Olympia qualifier. So say for instance, hypothetically speaking, I win the Master Olympia, then that would throw me into the Olympia. So you know that wouldn't be I guess a bad gig. That's the goal anyway.
Well, Gary Unit. He's part of that. He's part of that family. He's one of the capos for the Manion. So he could, but like I said, it's money, 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 money. But like I said, well, like I said, brother, this is where I'm saying like this. There's opportunities there somewhere, and someone has to make those opportunities. These promoters need to have enough courage to say, you know what, especially how the visions are starting to evolve. You're seeing women moving over from physique to
Women's
women's
physique.
bodybuilding. Yeah.
Yep.
And and then there's a reason why you still keep the vision because the fact is it's growing. You look at the Ashley Jones, look at the Sheriff Yamis, you look at all the other women who are coming over, and I understand
But
it's
again,
about
the part of that problem, bro, is simply this: if I was a women physique player, would I want to come over because there's more opportunities at women physique shows than there are women bodybuilding shows, right? So
yeah,
why would I come over? Because my opportunity in women's physique is greater than women's bodybuilding because the shows are less. So that's the catch.
yeah.
You know, so we've always asked the question, why do some girls stay in women's physique? Maybe that's it now. So and it's like are they is the powers that be really excited about women's bodybuilding like if they are like wellness and women's physique, or are they kind of like trying to phase it out like they did before? I don't know.
Yeah, and one the other division that gets the worst of is fitness. I
Yeah,
mean, because it's the hardest division to do. Not a lot of women want to jump around. I saw Missy Trescott. She's supposed to be coming back, and
yeah.
I think she should take a little more time. I mean,
Is that the one that
yeah,
got injured at the Olympia, the favorite last year?
yeah,
I'm
her and
sorry.
Whitney Jones, both her and Whitney Jones. She had ACL surgery. There's a picture of her. I think I saw. Let me pull it up if I can find it. Where she is, she really looks like she. I don't know. This is where the debate. I keep saying, you know, um, this is she should really consider maybe I don't know switching divisions or something. I mean, let me pull it if I can find it. I know I got her here. Let me see. Tris- let's see. I'm searching because sometimes, and I should able to. Here we go. And I have her. Give me a sec. And she's been training, and she looks like I said, I don't know. This is a debate where I think she can do this. While she recovering, she might can do another division. Maybe do figure for a minute. You know, it's just
Who's that? Whitney?
Missy. That's Missy
Who?
Trescott.
Oh wow, she looks good.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. She
again, the question is, can she do the things on her in her routine? That she did. Because you can work out and stand there and do all that you want, but what they do is a skill set and all on its own. Is her body able to do what she needs to do that she used to do? Is the question. We see her working out, but is what she's doing? Yeah, that's a nasty scar. It's what she's doing. Is her body gonna allow her to be as high, competitive, and amazing as she was before? Her body looks great, but that's not her running around doing tumbling and all the stuff that she did before. So that'll be the question. You know.
I don't know if that's the same leg or not. I think I could see the scarring. It looks. I don't know. Yeah, it's the same leg.
Yeah, that's same
Yeah,
leg.
yeah, yeah. I'll be certain. Yeah, but yeah, that's 7 months since the surgery. You know, I don't know. I know somebody who did figure who had the injuries and they did another division for a bit. I know Jody Bone, she did physique and figure for a bit. I remember another lady, she did physique for a bit, but if she wants to, that's like I said, that's her division. That's her home division. That's the division she knows. You
Yep.
know, like I guess it's tough to walk away from it. But like I said, it's up to her. You know,
Yeah.
she what she wants.
Well, wish her
She,
the best.
yeah, wish her the best. Like I said, it's a tough division. It's tough. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, like I said, next week like this week I am going to watch The Rising. Like I said, I hope I get my car out this week. I just God drive me crazy. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to watch it. We're going to do a critique of it. You going to watch it
Yep.
because because I know you've been there. You remember last year? You were my man, my boots on the ground last year. But
Yeah.
that's why
We're kind of a little bitter this year, so I don't know if
I
I
know,
mean,
I know,
yeah,
I know.
but you seen the sneak preview, so we're bringing something good this year. So you know
Yeah, yeah. I think see people.
that
Yeah. That's all.
yeah, yeah. We got Melanie back in camp with us, so and and that you seen the sneak preview. She is on right now, so I'm excited
She's
for her.
yeah, and it's just another 4 weeks
5 weeks,
till 5 weeks
4 weeks.
Anaheim. Five,
Yep,
four, yeah, about that. Yeah. And and that could, like I said, if she comes in what she looks like, if team comes in great condition, I think she could get qualification. It's all depending who's
yep,
coming there. Like I said, there's possibility. I talked to one lady, she might be doing this show. She said it while I was doing a live stream on IG a while back because she was going to do Tampa, but then she did do Tampa. There's Hunter Henderson. That's because she might do Anaheim because she's young. She can fly out
and she's
to
in Las Vegas. I mean, it makes sense. She's in
Vegas.
Vegas, so that's a 4-hour drive, 3-hour drive for her. So
Yeah,
I
so
mean, makes
or
sense.
or our flight, so that saves her
Yeah,
time.
but
Yeah,
again, and I think that her goals were and aspirations was for this year. Especially going into what show did she come in second? Chicago or Tampa? Tampa.
Chicago, Chicago,
Was it?
Chicago.
I thought it was Tampa.
No, Chicago,
Okay,
because
so her
McKayla
goal
took
was.
second at
Oh,
Tampa.
that's right. Yeah, because Christina won Tampa.
Yeah,
And they train out of the same gym, so I think that was a conflict of interest because I know that she works with them on poses and stuff. So, but yeah, so it should be interesting. It's gonna be a good
Yeah.
show. So
Yeah. Well, she could try to do the Alina show or try to do show in UK. Like I said, she's young. She can
yeah,
take the time to fly out into another country, and she could probably afford it. Just take maybe a week, go out there a week early and get ready and get set, and try to get immaculated with the environment and the time. Mela, I think we talk about Mela. I think Mela should take the year off. I honestly think she does. I mean,
you know,
she did.
there was somebody told her to get bigger, and I don't think that's her problem because she got bigger clearly. But when you do that, sometimes you lose your conditioning. And am if I am in their camp and I was to look at Mela, which I'm a fan of, Boswell, I'm a fan of, I would tell them, and I told this to Mela last year at Worlds, and me and John were sitting in the audience watching his champion win again. I said, if Mela can bring in her lower body conditioned from the back, not the front, because her front is everything's fine, but from the back when these girls turn around, because in our world they say shows are won from the back. If she can get her conditioning in, Boswell, uh, unbelievable shapes, great shoulders, small waist, great quads, lacks conditioning. And I would tell them that because I would want to hear it. I would want somebody to tell me that. I want somebody. I don't want anybody in my camp saying I look great. Like you're right. People tell me now like you're ahead of schedule. You look unbelievable. And I tell people we still got work to do. You know, because we do. It's great as far as ahead I am. As much as I'm pushing my body, I want somebody in my camp saying we ain't fucking there yet. You need to do this. And I remember looking at Maya last year because she is beautiful and she has unbelievable shapes. But when she, like Christina Mendoza last year, her and Bob, when they turn around from the back, it's all gone. The conditioning wasn't there, and I just don't understand like how you could look fucking phenomenal from the front and then you turn around from the back, and it's not. And I'm not talking about from the waist up. I'm talking about from the waist down, from the back for those three girls. Because if those three girls come in dry and tight and hard, man, it's rap. Because sometimes you can't beat shape. Sometimes you can't beat shape. And Maya and Boswell have shapes, but the conditioning aspect from and it's a women's, so women, especially from the glute and hamstring, and I'm a guy, and that's all I focus on. My back is wide, chest is huge. I just left my massage therapist from stripping down my glutes and my quads because I understand